Welcome to Monday Jazz and Conversation, presented by a collaboration of 4 nonprofit organizations: Gold Coast Jazz Society, South Florida Jazz, Sunshine Jazz Organization, and the Miami Jazz Cooperative, all of whom are dedicated to bringing jazz to South Florida audiences. Each Monday, Wendy Peterson and Nikki Orta feature the music and talk to the country's most talented and interesting jazz musicians.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John Fedchuk to the hang.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here.
The amazing and beautiful and the world's best person, Brenda Alford.
Hi, Brenda.
Live up to that.
Okay, I got some living to do.
Please welcome to Jazz and Conversation the amazing Joe Donato. Joey D.
Hello.
How are you? I'm so
Good evening,
sad
ladies and
that
gentlemen.
we gave
This
you
is Ralph
stress.
Edwards, and tonight, it's Joe Donato. This is your life.
And now, the hosts of Monday Jazz and Conversation, Wendy Peterson and Nikki Orta.
Oh my God, we are seriously needing this drink because we have been stressed out for the last hour trying to figure out how to get back on. Something happened to my internet at my house. We had to drive across town.
And then it was the multitude of technical
Oh
difficulties.
my gosh, it's crazy.
We had a slamming mic sound for Phill, and something happened there. But you know what? Better late than never. And in the big scheme of things, you know what? We're gonna have fun.
Yes, tonight's a good night.
It is.
Happy Martin Luther King Day. We have a really special treat for you that our lovely and best person in the world, Brenda Alford, put together for us to celebrate Martin Luther King. Let me just try to figure out how to explain this. We asked a whole bunch of people to read excerpts from actually the last 4 minutes of the I Have a Dream speech, and Nikki put it all together. But we also wanted to play, Brenda Alford wrote a song that was inspired by that song called Oh How I Dream. So we are going to watch and listen to the song that she wrote, and then we're going to watch the video that we put together of a whole bunch of people reading the words of Dr. Martin Luther King. We hope it inspires and lifts you up in the way that only Martin Luther King's words can.
And based on some issues we had last week, when this video starts playing, somebody in the audience, please let us know that you can hear it, so I don't let it go on too long. This is Brenda Alford.
I can also somehow.
Of a time when all wars are behind us and hate is a thing that's passing, like a candle that rolls back the darkness. My dream rolls a dark night of hopeless tomorrows away. There's a world in my mind where there's nothing but kindness, and love is the road of the day. And I know if I do in my heart what is true, then one day I'll be able to say, children of war, suffer no more. Food for the hungry and homes for the poor. Peace we can find for all mankind. Dream a bell that can roll back the silence. My dream rolls away every reason for sadness or tears. There's a song in my soul. It's a garden that grows with each smile, every kind loving word. And I know it can start with a dream in my heart, and then fly like the wings of a bird. Children of war, suffer no more. Food for the hungry and homes for the poor. Peace we can find for all mankind. Dreams can come true if we work and believe. Work and believe. Work and believe. Dreams can come true if we work and believe. Work and believe. Work and believe. Dreams can come true if we work and believe.
I say to you today, my friends, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It's a dream deeply rooted in the American dream.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
I have a dream one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood.
I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice.
I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
I have a dream today.
I have a dream that one day down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers.
I have a dream today.
I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And all of the Lord's glory shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together.
This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the south with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out the Mount of Despair, a stone of hope.
With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood.
With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day.
This is the day when all of God's children get to sing with the new meaning.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty for thee I sing. The land where my fathers died, the land of pilgrims' pride. From every mountainside, let freedom reign.
And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire.
Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York.
Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghanies of Pennsylvania.
Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado.
Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California.
But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia.
Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee.
Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. From every mountainside, let freedom ring.
And when this happens, when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet,
from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children,
black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics,
will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Powerful stuff.
You know, I've seen that so many times because we were editing the videos and everything that everybody sent in, and I literally got, you know, chills and welled up a little bit. Just thinking about what those words mean and how it's kind of even more important today than it ever has been, you know. So anyway, thanks to Brenda, and thanks to all of our artists and friends that sent in submissions. It was really a beautiful thing. Thank you so much. So now we are going to move on to the rest of our show with this amazing guitarist and musician, Phill Fest. I'm one of those people that I kind of came on late to the Phill Fest train because I didn't know that much about him.
We call it the Phill Festival.
The Phill Festival, yeah. I came late to the Phill Festival, but I'm happy to be here now. I guess maybe our circles just didn't, kind of mix or something. But this is the greatest thing about doing this show every week is getting to meet, new people and learning more. And even if they're not new, they're new to me and hopefully new to you. And we're introducing people to a lot of different stuff. Let's go ahead and just show a little bit about Phill Fest, and then we can talk to him and get to know him and know what he's about because he's got a brand new CD out.
Yeah, and here's a teaser for it. You'll get to hear a little bit of the music and see some of the fine artists that are playing on his upcoming, soon-to-be-released CD.
I think of myself as a Brazilian music-oriented artist. A name and sell Miss Cafe Phill.
A Saturday morning and now it's time to get out.
When you do the Brazilian thing in guitar, you also use your voice.
The breeze feels so good, yeah.
My instrument along with my voice is just one. This album contains new compositions of mine. It contains a song, one called Smile on Your Face.
I want to see that smile on your face today. It's a smile that erases blues from paying dues each and every day.
And I also decided to include two classics. The legendary Antonio Adolfo, who was gracious enough to bless me with his presence on my dad's tune, Bossa do Choro. The most important aspect for me is the groove and also melody. I just hope the music brings happiness to everybody and puts a smile on everybody's faces.
Oh, let's.
Hi.
We're gonna get right to it and meet Phill and learn all about. Man, he has such an interesting life. I can't wait to talk to him about it. Phill Fest.
Phill,
Hey guys, how are you? I'm good.
Thanks for,
How's everybody doing?
Good. You know, we're winding down now with the help of our little friends.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wish I still drank.
Anyhow, so thank you for enduring our sound test, and I know it's not what we were hoping to get, but you know, like I said, we're here and we have so much to talk about.
Yeah.
And finally we get to learn about you. And what Wendy was saying is true. I haven't seen you in quite a while, but we've done, you know, several gigs together. And like we always say, you know, we hang and then on the break we chit chat about this and that. But we don't ever sit down and say, hey, tell me about your life.
Yeah.
That'd be creepy.
Well, first off, Wendy, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Phill.
And I was thinking, I was like, I don't think, you know, I was like, I don't think we've met. And if we have, it's been a long time. And it was very brief. Yeah. It was very brief. And Nikki, I met you about 20 years ago when we played with Roberto Pereira. Remember that gig?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I just, that was 20 years ago, like right now. And it was like the beginning of 2001. And I met you, Abel Pabon, and Carlo Magno all in the same day. Yeah.
There you go.
The Trinity.
Yes, the Holy Trinity.
The Holy Trinity.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess we don't work together more because you're based in West Palm Beach, right?
Yeah, I mean, I live, West Palm Beach, where I'm on the north side of the south side, so to speak. But you know how it is, though. I'm in Miami-Dade and Broward all the time, and you know the guys are up here, and you know how it is. You go where the work is. But yeah, I mean, I do live up here, so for a lot of the day-to-day stuff, I end up staying up here for certain things. But
right,
yeah.
So I was reading your bio, and your background is your background's fascinating because you grew up in Minnesota.
Yes, my parents migrated from Brazil, and my dad, who was a musician, also both my parents. But he had a chance to play at the White House, which was the jazz club of Minneapolis in the late 60s.
Okay.
So like if John Coltrane or Wes Montgomery came through town, that's where they would play. So he was offered a 2-week stint there. And it was kind of, you know, the bossa nova craze was still going on. And the second wave of musicians were coming up from Brazil. And he saw it as an opportunity to come to the U.S. So my mother was already pregnant with me, and she came up after, and then I ended up being born in Minneapolis because of that.
And how long did you guys stay there?
We moved in and out of there for about 20 years. Right after I was born, we lived in LA.
Okay.
When my father was working with Sergio Mendes and the musical director of Bossa Rio, which was the offshoot band of Brazil 66. And then we went back to the Twin Cities, and then we lived in Chicago for a while. Then we went back to the Twin Cities, and then we lived in Brazil for a while.
Okay.
And then we moved back to the Twin Cities until finally moving to Florida in the late 80s.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
And so we should tell everybody that your dad is Manfredo Fest.
Yes. My father was Manfredo, correct.
And just an amazing, incredible musician. And your mom was also a musician?
Yes, my mother is a pianist, and she was more on the composing side of things. So she, stayed more behind the scenes, so to speak, but co-wrote a lot of the material that my father ended up recording. And yes, so, and she's still alive, thank God. She's living in Boynton Beach.
Okay,
and, yeah, and I'm a mama's boy. So
tell us about this picture. This picture we're looking at here.
Okay, so this is George Shearing.
Oh, wow.
And my dad trading notes at the piano. My father was also blind. He was legally blind. And George Shearing was one of his heroes.
Wow.
And they became good friends. And that's him visiting our house in 1972. And George ended up recording a composition of my father's called That's What She Says, with bassist Brian Torf. Are you familiar with him, Nikki?
Yes, sure.
yeah, so they ended up recording a composition called "That's What She Says," and until George passed away, they were friends, and it was kind of the mutual respect society between the two.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
So is this something that happened around the house? You had a lot of musicians coming in and out?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, lots. And as a little kid, I just took it all for granted. If I could only go back in time. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Now, guitar was not your first instrument, was it?
It was not. I started off. I took my. Both my parents also taught piano during the day, so a lot of the kids I went to school with would come over to my house after school and take piano lessons with my mother.
Okay.
So I took a little bit of piano, and I wasn't. There was so much piano at my house that I just really didn't want to play it myself, even though I love it. And to this day, it's my favorite thing to listen to.
Right.
But I actually really started off on violin, was probably my first formal instrument. And I played violin in the orchestra for a while there. And then I picked up the clarinet.
Okay.
And then I did clarinet for a while. But
can I just stop? I'm going to stop you right there because of all the instruments, I think clarinet and violin are just the worst to learn because they sound terrible for the longest time. Like, with the clarinet, it's squeaky, squeaky, squeaky until you get a handle on it. And violin just sounds like
scratchy, scratchy.
Yeah. And then it becomes beautiful, of course. But it's like it's like so hard to actually get to the point where you're good enough to sound like music, So it's kind of funny that you picked both of the ones that are just the hardest.
Yeah. Well, I really wanted saxophone, it's really what I wanted to learn. And they made me start on the clarinet. And, yeah.
I think they were just hoping you wouldn't become a musician.
That's probably what it was. Yeah. they always warned me. They did. So
that's so funny.
Yeah,
I don't want to let this picture go by. Tell us about this one.
Let's see. Okay, so here's a picture of, that's my mom and dad in the middle there.
Uh-huh.
And this is from the sleeve of a CD that my father recorded for DMP, which was a label run by, he was actually an engineer from Minneapolis, but he was one of the pioneers of digital recordings.
Oh, wow.
Carl Young, right. And he was Billy Joel's sound man all through the 70s. And he would record he's, like I said, one of the pioneers of actual digital recording. So when he started his label DMP, he then signed my father. And so that's inside the jacket of the CD, that picture there. So that's probably 1986, I want to say, right there. Yeah.
And so how did you, well, first of all, I mean, you what age were you when you actually finally discovered the guitar?
15.
Oh, that's fairly late, isn't it?
Yeah, I started guitar late. Yeah, I wish I would have started earlier, but it was interesting once I started it, I was so obsessed with it, and then 4 months later I was playing lead guitar in a band after 4 months.
Oh my gosh! Well, you already had the foundation of music, so that certainly helps.
Well, let's take a look at your evolution here a little bit. Look at that.
Oh, you playing the violin? That's adorable.
That's me. Yep, and it's my father's accompanying me.
That's amazing.
It almost looks like, that's us that's in one of the places we lived. Yep.
And let's see what we have here.
There we go. Yep, that was one of our concerts. So I may be fourth grade there, perhaps.
Oh my God, you're tiny.
Yeah, maybe third grade. I can't remember.
But now we're getting.
Here we go. Now we're getting downtown
guitars
here.
Yeah, I think I skipped some. This is clearly before that. Hold on. Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay, so.
Wow.
I want to hear him explain this.
Yes, I was I'm part of the Van Halen generation, right? So,
of course.
Got way into the electric guitar and the early 80s, there were so many great rock and roll guitarists.
Oh, yeah.
And it was such a great time for the instrument. And I got caught up in all that. And so that's me with my fake Flying V. And that's a hot tub behind me. And we're in the basement of our, I think that was the bass player's house up there in Minnesota. And we were covering all the bands. Motley Crue had just come out. And Kiss, and of course Van Halen we were trying to play, and everything that was going on at that time, we were doing. So it was a lot of fun.
Right. So then you obviously, when you're doing violin, that's and I guess clarinet too. It's all classical repertoire, right?
It pretty much was. But while I was doing all this heavy metal stuff, I was studying classical guitar.
Okay.
And I was playing.
Would that be? This would be one of your classical guitar recitals?
Yeah. There we go. Now, this picture here was this is the early '90s now, and I was
Phill,
in a
is that
band.
a wig?
No, that was actually my hair. Go figure. Yeah, I had cool hair for a while there. So this was probably 1991, and I was with a band based out of Tampa Bay. We were called D-Force, and we were an all-original eclectic rock band. Everybody in the band was a good player, and we were almost signed to Chrysalis Records in 1994.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we won Best Original Band of the state of Florida. Do you remember the Florida Jammy Awards? Do you remember that in the early 90s?
Yeah.
So we won 1993 and 94 for the whole state, Best Original Band of Florida. We did all our own material, and we also got to deal with Chrysalis, and then it didn't happen though. So
it could be. It's interesting to think of how that would have changed the course of your musical life.
Yes. Now, when that was going on, though, I was moonlighting as a guitarist with my father, and recording like the albums on Concord Jazz label, and so I was doing both. Yeah. So I always knew I'd want to play jazz at some point, so I was always dabbling in jazz and classical. So.
And what did your parents think of the rock bands?
They weren't too impressed. No, they didn't. My dad was a purist, man. I mean, he was. My dad was like, right. So, he didn't think it was too cool. So, yeah.
Right.
No.
So, speaking of your dad, you had sent me a couple of MP3s that you recorded on. And for those who don't know him, he was a heavyweight on the Brazilian scene for sure. And they should at least get a taste of what he was all about. Would you like to do? Which one of the two would you like to do? Would you like to do?
Well, I have the CDs here. I found them. These were the four CDs that we did for Concord Jazz in the '90s, and starting with Offerenda.
Right.
And luckily I'm on all of these, and each one of these features, he was nice enough to record a song of mine on all of these.
Wow.
And I think I sent you, why don't we start off with... we have
Berimbau and is it
Brazilian
Divertimento number 2?
Yeah, let's do Berimbau, which is a Vinicius de Moraes and Toquinho song, which is a Brazilian standard, but my dad gave it his arrangement. And it features the late great Claudio Roditi on on trumpet and flugelhorn. So why don't we give that a listen first?
Sounds good. This is
Great,
Manfredo Fest.
So good.
Hey.
So good.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That is fantastic. We have a picture
of the back cover
of the musicians that were on that I would like to show. Hold on.
Yeah. So that's everybody. Claudio and.
That's it. That's the crew right there. Yes.
Phill Fest and Nick Phillips and Rogelio Boter. Mayo.
Rogelio Boter Mayo. In Portuguese, we get the G's out, so it's like Rogelio.
Yeah.
And then my favorite one, Portinho. Yep.
Yeah.
World class, old school Brazilian drummer. Yeah.
Sounds, man, it just sounds beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, listen, we want to make a little announcement here that we usually do. So, Wendy, why don't you go?
Oh, yeah. Just like we say every week, this is the way we are keeping the music alive for South Florida artists. And we would appreciate it if you are able to support our musicians. All of the money, we have a little tip jar that basically all of the money in it will go to Phill tonight. So want to just let you know that the way to do it is to text the word tip jar to the number 44321. Immediately you'll get a little notification back and a link, like a very secure link that you can, use your credit card or PayPal to donate money to our tip jar. The first $100 will be matched, and at the end of the night, all of that money will go directly to Phill. So you can
send away to your heart's content.
Send away to your heart's content. This is really like a gig for Phill tonight. He's here and giving us all his deepest and darkest secrets.
Yeah. And so we thought, even though we're having our sound issues, how about we give it a shot for maybe you playing some acoustic guitar for us?
Sounds good. Sure. All right, I'm gonna play something off the new record.
Great.
And by the way, we're probably releasing in about a month and a half to 2 months from now.
Okay.
Just with everything going on, it's just kind of been pushing everything back a little bit. And,
What is the name of the CD?
The name of the CD is Cafe Fonfon, which is a jazz club in the city of Porto Alegre, Brazil.
Okay.
And I started playing there in 2016. There's a jazz club in Rio de Janeiro called Tree Boss. And I had to play, I played there and then went down to Porto Alegre, which is where my family's from. And, it's such a great room. It's had that New York, New Orleans vibe. It's an old brownstone converted, into a jazz club. And there's pictures of Bird and, Monk. And I mean, you feel like you're in a real jazz club. And it is a real jazz club.
Yeah.
And it's just a wonderful vibe. And I became great friends with the owners. And my first night there, I met Isabel, and we're going to play a track of mine called Isabel later, but who's now my wife.
All right.
And so this whole album is really, like I was explaining to Nikki earlier, it's almost like an Akashic record of my life from the last 4 years.
Right.
And so the song that I'm going to play for you is called Each and Every Week, and it's about our Saturday morning routine of walking around. It's kind of like Central Park of Porto Alegre. So it's a big park in the middle of a big city. And, we just do that routine, and there'd be a green market. And, so whenever I was in town, that's what we would do on Saturday mornings. So the song is called Each and Every Week. So I'll play that for you.
Oh, that's great.
It's on the new record. And Beatrice Malnick from Brazilian Voices sings with me on that song on the recording.
Okay, cool.
And there's a snippet of it on that promo video that you guys played at the beginning, but I'll play the whole thing. Just me, but on the record, it's just me on guitar with percussion and voice, and Pablo Gil does saxophone on it.
Oh, nice.
So, but you'll get the unplugged version tonight. So,
okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna take off the side here. All right. Okay. All right. This one's called Each and Every Week. All right. it's time to get out. We love to do it each and every week. The birds are chirping and the breeze feels so good, yeah. It's how we do it so we never feel big. It's time to honey, and for my money we'll always enjoy this. And if it's raining, well, we'll just sneak a peek will do. But there's nothing like the real thing. We love to do it each and every week. It's how we do it each and every week. And if it's raining, well, we'll just sneak a peek. We love to do it each and every week. It's how we do it each and every week. And if it's raining, well, we'll just sneak a peek. The day has come and gone, and wow, it was a good time. And yes, we've done it each and every week. Indeed, the birds were chirping and the breeze felt so good, yeah. And sure enough, my love, we're not feeling big. We bet our money, and honey, I know we'll always enjoy this. It did not rain, so we didn't just sneak a peek will do. But there's nothing like the real thing. We love to do it each and every week. It's how we do it each and every week. And if it's raining, well, we'll just sneak a peek. We love to do it each and every week. It's how we do it each and every week. And if it's raining, well, we'll just sneak a peek.
Oh yeah.
Woo! That's so good. Actually, you know what? The sound was better than when we heard it in the sound test. It sounded good.
Yeah. Semi-audible? Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
we're good.
It was
Okay.
doable anyway.
All right. Yeah, doable. Okay.
Listen,
Yeah.
he's pickier than I am because I really enjoyed it.
That's because she didn't hear our earlier sound test. That's why.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Doesn't this thing look like Sputnik? Look at that. I mean, it's like
Yes.
It's like,
It sounded like it sounded like gangbusters. But
Yeah, it's
tech
it's
is.
like, yeah.
We were just talking earlier. We are
Yeah.
so at the mercy of tech.
Yes.
Yeah. Each and every week something new shows up that we have to deal with. It's so crazy. And then I thought, the other day we had like a big outage everywhere. I don't know if you experienced the same thing, but I had this feeling like we are so dependent now on internet.
Yes, we are.
For banking. Most people don't even have a home phone anymore. It's all internet. So if that ever goes out, it's going to be wild.
It is going to be
So-
wild. Hey, and real quick, if I could mention, I had the
Please.
pleasure and honor of working with Brenda Alford a couple years ago. And, so I just want to say that, and it's for me to be on tonight on Martin Luther King Day is it makes it all the more special for me because that's a very important issue for us here at our house. And, so just thanks for having me tonight of all nights.
Yeah.
Oh, pleasure.
And she actually mentioned that the gig that you guys had, and then
Yeah.
Lisanne also came on and wrote in the comments about that
Lisanne,
that she missed your yearly gig that you guys do every year.
Yeah, we get to play once a year. Yeah, we do. We would usually do a fundraiser for the Maltz Theater, and not happening this year. So, and we keep saying we're gonna get a cool project happening at some point. But timing's everything. So
timing is everything.
Timing is certainly, certainly everything. Hey, well, since you brought Isabel up, why don't we give that song a listen that you wrote for her? And I'm sure it was written in the heat of love, right? It just came flowing from your pen.
It all
Pour it
came to
out
me.
if you.
Literally and figuratively, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the song Isabel by Phill Fest.
Off the new album.
Uh-huh.
That was some funky bass there.
I saw you doing some bass face there, Phill.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I told Paul, I said, yeah, man, get it going, man. Get that partito alto slap thing going, like.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
No, because in that real samba funk, that partito alto thing, that slap bass is, you hear it in there, and I just love that, and I just wanted to have that on the record for, at least for that part, that moment right there.
Sure.
It has great energy.
Hey,
Thank you so
when
much.
did you guys record this?
A year ago right now, we were in the studio. A year
So
ago
before
right
all,
now.
before all the craziness.
Right before COVID hit. Yep. In fact, I had just got done tracking right the first week of March, and then a week later is when everything just stopped. So
yeah.
So
yeah, it's a whole different world now.
It really is. It really is.
Gave you plenty of time though to mix and master and get all the tracks done.
Yeah, you know what? And it was actually kind of interesting because we just put it away and we didn't even start mixing and mastering until the fall. So then I listened to everything with fresh ears, and I kind of forgot. And I wasn't listening to the rough mixes. I just kind of put it away. And I've done so many recordings and projects over the years that I've learned to kind of give it a break when it needs a break.
Yeah.
And Nikki, and both of you, it's good to hear it with fresh ears every once in a while. And and it was nice to kind of because I was even thinking about retracking certain things, but then after I heard it, I was like, that was that moment. It is what it is, and so.
I think the hardest thing for us as musicians sometimes is that wanting it to be perfect and just trying to kind of just accepting that it's like a picture of that moment. Like that's where we were at that day on that particular thing. That's who we were. And sometimes it's it's not always perfection, but it's musical and beautiful at the same time.
Now for me that works better with the live performance than I'm a horror when it's like studio stuff that I have the ability to retrack and rethink and reshape because you're hardly ever satisfied.
Hey, speaking of Nikki, Robert Prester has been my keyboard and piano guy for a long time. We've been
man.
partners, and you're on his Dogtown.
I love that.
CD.
That was such a cool project.
And I brought lots of copies of that down to Brazil. So, and your playing on that album is. I was wondering why he didn't call me to do guitar work, and then after I heard it, I was like, "Well, Nikki's doing the guitar work." I mean, your playing is so phenomenal on that record.
Thank you.
It really is, and that album's been played all over down there because I brought 20 copies with me and got it down to the radio stations for them, and
Awesome.
Everybody's always talking about your playing on that record.
Well, thank you for the exposure.
Just so you know. And by the way, let's give a shout out to Dave Schanzer, because
Schanzer.
I do all my records over at his place, Lakeshore Recording Studios, and where you guys did Robert's thing, and he's up here near me in Palm Beach County, so we've got a nice synergetic work kind of cooperation thing going, and it works real well.
Yeah, well, it's always nice when it's a musician that is an engineer.
Oh, totally.
Look, he's watching us.
Oh, is Schanzer in the house?
Yeah, look, he just posted up. You just missed his comment.
Oh, well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
I think we may have a picture of Schanzer now that we're talking about him. Hold on a sec. There we go.
There he is. And that's
Looking...
that's the day Antonio Adolfo came in.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he'll be on the show in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we're going to have him on in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Wow, it's great.
So then you recorded this over the course of several weeks, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, all the main, and I like to try, because when we did those, when we did those Concord records, right, that, that was old school. That was 2 6-hour sessions for the whole record.
Right.
So that take we played at Beeringbow, that was live in the studio.
That's amazing.
We had 2-3 takes of each song, and then the producer would pick the best song. Now, and if somebody clammed like a melody, since we were doing guitar, piano, and trumpet unison lines, and on the next tune you're going to hear it's with Hendrik Merkens, if somebody messed up a melody line, they could punch that in real quick. but you only had about 15 minutes to do that, and it was next. I mean, that's how that stuff was recorded. I mean, it was old school. It's like, hey,
And is the song you're referring to Divertimento?
Yeah, Brazilian Divertimento, right? Which was also done like that, where it was like that was that take,
Yeah.
So
let's listen to that.
Okay, and then we'll come back and look at some pictures of early Hendrik. Okay.
And this features Hendrik Merkens, yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So good.
We have some pictures from 1990, I guess it's 1994. Some gigs that you did with Hendrik. A little hard to see there, but there he is when his hair wasn't quite fully white.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah.
But still tall.
He was tall, yeah. I think he's like 6'6".
Yeah.
We never did ask him what his height was.
No, we didn't.
Here's a couple other pics.
Yeah, this is all like early to mid 90s. That's Manfredo there on your left on the keyboards. And that was the band over in Tampa. I think we're playing in St. Pete here. This is down in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Have you guys ever heard of the Zimbo Trio?
It sounds familiar to me.
Okay, so here's the thing. In the early that's the bass player Luis Chavez. So in the early '60s, you kind of like how had like here in the U.S. you had like the hard bop going on in New York and the cool jazz in L.A. So in Rio and Sao Paulo, you had different scenes going on. So when Bossa Nova hit, Rio was more like, after João Gilberto, like Roberto Menescal and all these guys that were singing and playing guitar.
Yeah.
Kind of like what I do, what I'm paying homage to, that was going on more in Rio. But in Sao Paulo was the piano jazz trio scene, but going through the Brazilian filter. So you had the Manfredo Fest trio, and then you had the Zimbo trio, and a handful of others, and those were that was the scene going on in Sao Paulo. So that's the bass player Luis Chavez in the middle there playing with us, and so they were rivals and friendly contemporaries, if you will.
Yeah.
And what they were doing, if you listen to the recordings, it's all on YouTube. If you go back, this is like 1963, 4, 5. I mean, what they were doing back then was so advanced. It was really great stuff. And harmonically and just rhythmically, and just a little bit of the classical influence going on, but with all the jazz harmonies and the whole thing. So my dad was really into George Shearing and Bill Evans, so he was doing that with the Brazilian rhythms and stuff. And
it's so great.
And he could swing like Oscar Peterson too. I mean, he really, when he wanted to. So
yeah,
he was into all that. So.
Hey, so you recorded, I don't even want to try and say it. You want to try and say it?
O Barquinho.
O Barquinho, yes.
Oh, look at that. See, I would have butchered that.
Yeah, Wendy, you sound good. Yeah.
I try. I love it. I love singing Brazilian music so much, especially the bossa nova. But
now that's known to American audiences as
My Little Boat.
My Little Boat.
My Little Boat. Right. So I wanted to include because I've been working with Brazilian voices when the opportunity happened. So I got to know Beatrice Melnick really well.
Yeah.
Last couple of years, and she's just such an amazing singer.
Such a beautiful singer.
She is. I mean, her intonation, her vibe, her energy, it's just so chill, and she's just so great. And our voices blended well, so she came in and did a couple of duets with me, and this is one of them.
Okay, so let's hear it. O Barquinho, or as we Americans say, My Little Boat.
Festa de sol e o barquinho a deslizar no macio azul do mar. Tudo é verão, o amor se faz num barquinho pelo mar e desliza sem parar. Sem intenção, nossa canção vai saindo desse mar e o sol. Beijo, barco e luz, dias tão azuis. Volta do mar, desmaia o sol e o barquinho a deslizar e a vontade de cantar. Céu tão azul, ilhas do sul e o barquinho, coração deslizando na canção. Tudo isso é paz, tudo isso traz uma calma de verão. E então o barquinho vai, a tardezinha cai. Festa de sol e um barquinho a deslizar no macio azul do mar. Tudo é verão, o amor se faz no barquinho pelo mar que desliza sem parar. Sem intenção, nossa canção vai saindo desse mar e o sol. Beijo, barco e luz, dias tão azuis. Volta do mar, desmaia o sol e o barquinho a deslizar e a vontade de cantar. Céu tão azul, ilhas do sul e o barquinho coração deslizando na canção. Tudo isso é paz, tudo isso traz uma calma de verão. E então o barquinho vai, a tardezinha cai. O barquinho vai, a tardinha cai. O barquinho vai.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil.
Yeah,
Just
thank you
beautiful.
guys. Thank you.
You know,
Yeah.
those are the Brazilian standards, and just like anything else, you know, you have to breathe life into them. They've been heard so many times, but you know, you still have to make it feel like it's the first time it's ever been played or heard, right?
Yeah, and that song, for all of us, and you guys, and especially here in South Florida, we've heard that song a lot, but it's still a relatively unknown song to a lot of people in the U.S. And so we wanted to not do anything. I didn't want to make it too fancy of an arrangement, but like you said, Nikki, to hopefully give it a new set of legs.
Yeah.
And just and thank you so much. Yeah, glad you enjoyed it.
I loved the last chord. It took me by surprise.
Oh yeah, I know. It was like one of those, it was going to be a fade ending, and it was like, it's kind of quirky, but let's keep it. All right.
Yeah. I
Who
liked
cares?
it.
Who cares? Good. I'm glad you dug it. So,
That was the right choice.
yeah, we just was like, all right, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So you also teach, Phil?
I do. I teach privately. And I'm doing a little bit online since COVID hit.
Yeah.
I used to teach a lot privately, and doing a little bit of that still.
Do you enjoy it?
I do, as long as I don't do too much of it. Just a balance. About 10 a week is good for me. I used to do the 40 a week, so 10's about right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, and at this point in my career, it has to be serious students. It has to be like either you want to do classical guitar, learn jazz theory, whatever, something like that. Otherwise,
right.
You don't want the guy who wants to learn the new lick.
Yeah, no, I'm not that guy anymore. Bringing it, back in the late '80s and '90s. The guy
That's back when you had long red hair.
Yeah, bring in the new Rat CD, and I'd have to learn a lick to show, which was fine. That was back then, so it's fine. But yeah. So,
hey, have you done any live performing since this hit? I know some people have been doing some outdoor gigs now and then.
I haven't done any ensemble stuff, but I have been doing a lot of solo guitar stuff.
Okay.
Not a lot, but a little bit here and there, and like a lot of these 55 and over communities up here in Palm Beach County. So I did one on Friday, so I was poolside and probably 50 feet away from anybody.
Yeah.
And they just wanted background music, so a little bit of that kind of thing, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So. Mm-hmm.
It's a crazy time.
Yeah. So
tell us what you have left to do with the CDs, or where is it in terms of the production?
The audio's all done, and Gene DeSouza, from WDNA.
Sure, yeah.
Gene's doing the liner notes, so he's wrapping that up, and just basically just get the cover art. I was toying with the idea. I've talked to a few labels just for maybe a distribution deal.
Yeah.
Because I already did everything,
So this is going to be a physical CD then?
I'm going to print a few up. I'm old school. I like being able to hold it, and look at it.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like being able to. I don't want it to just exist in cyberspace. I want to hold it.
Yeah. You want it physical.
So I'm going to do both. So people will be able to download it, and I'll be able to, once we start playing again, sell the card where you can just buy it and then download, But I'm also printing up copies too. It's so cheap these days. I mean,
right.
So.
Yeah.
And so you have the art,
And at concerts, I still sell them at concerts.
Yeah, people buy them for sure.
They still buy them, and there's people that still have CD players. So, and with the people that 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 like my music. I mean, they're people our age anyway, so they have CD players.
What are you trying to say? What do you mean by that?
Well, people your all's age. I'm a lot younger, but so, like, yeah.
Oh,
for us old folks.
Hey, Robert.
Yeah.
Good to see you, and good to hear you.
He probably doesn't know how much we talked about him.
Yes. Well, you know what? He comes late. Yeah. He misses all the praise.
He misses the praise. That's it. Yep.
It's not like he had an extra hour to get here,
Yeah. Right.
Oh.
So what are you looking forward to once this is done?
I'm looking forward to all of us just being able to do what we do. I mean, I miss, and not only that, I mean, I miss seeing, everybody else playing too, and I'm looking for, and with everything going on too right now, like this is going to be a nutty week, with everything with the going up in Washington and stuff. So these are scary times too we're living in.
Yeah.
And I mean, hopefully we won't have civil war this week, so who knows? But just looking forward to just a sense of peace and normality.
Yeah.
So I know it's cliche, but, we really are looking forward to that. And,
Yeah, that and making music together, totally. What it's all about.
Totally. I mean, I love anytime I get to play with Nikki and Wendy. I hope we can share the stage someday, too.
Yes.
That'd be lovely.
Even if it's just a duo, I love it. I love accompanying singers.
Took him 2 seconds to get rid of me.
To like bag the bass player. I love it.
Well, we started off a trio, and about 10 seconds later, it was a duo.
He's a man after my own heart.
Well, there's a little circle with like a Nikki right in front of your face. There's this like circle. So you're already deleted. Yeah.
Right. Rick says he's looking forward to another guitar summit.
Oh my God, those are wonderful. Yeah. That's the
fun.
Oh my God, yeah. It's like the who's who, and like, oh, these guys are so good. So it's like,
And that's that's why I can't wait for this to be over, just to be able to get in a crowded, sweaty room with everybody and, mingle.
It is a different energy, right? I mean, just no matter how convenient and even interesting the whole recording thing, the potential for creativity has been, uncovered during this time, I think. So there is some good stuff about it, but it's a different kind of thing.
It's a different kind of thing. I mean, like for me, and Nikki, you and I end up on a lot of the same shows. I'm usually doing about 25 functions a month. That's the average for me. So since I didn't have to worry about learning a new musical or a new show or, this guy's tunes and that, so I've actually practiced a lot in the last 9 months. And so that's been amazing, and written some new stuff. And so it's been good for that kind of thing. And I've been, when you listen to NPR, I've heard a lot of artists say like, hey, it's been a time of personal growth.
Right.
Because you're not so busy doing everything else. So there is some good coming out of it. Yeah.
I took a whole different approach. I have hardly touched my bass in 9 months, and I decided instead to become a very minor internet celebrity.
Well.
And I mean very minor.
You know where the money's at. So yeah.
I think I'm making a little bit more now. Yeah.
And he runs away from it screaming.
He's been so patient with me today. I mean, oh my God. So it's been great.
Listen, it could not have been more fun to listen to your stuff. We're all looking forward to the CD.
Yeah.
I'm going to personally get a physical copy. Like you,
please.
I'm not into the digital downloads. It's good when you're in your car to put on Spotify, but I do like the liner notes.
Absolutely.
I like the physical CD.
Knowing who's on it, knowing where it was recorded.
Listen, that's kind of the way that I learned about people. Like my whole career, like one of my first records that my dad brought when I got a bass was George Benson's Good King Bad. It was one of those CTI records. It's like, well, liner notes, who's the bass player? And then you found a record with that guy on it, and you just kept on discovering new people. I mean,
totally.
It's a little bit more difficult these days.
Well, we remember the era, like where you mow somebody's lawn, for a few weeks, and then you go and buy that LP back in the day, or that record, and that's, you only had 3 pictures of the artist, and you looked at those pictures for months and months, and like you just was like, oh, like. And you learned everything, and you reread everything, and you just like, and then if an article came out, it was like, oh, and
I know, it was a revelation.
Yeah.
And then you find out about like, what other albums is that guy on, like you said, and it's like,
I'm telling you, this is stuff that to today's youth, this is kind of, it means nothing. They have no idea about this.
Because they could just go to YouTube and find
Everything imaginable
anything.
is there.
We had, you think about, you had to check out, you go to the listening library at school or something to find an album, but you had to sit in the library to listen to it, it's really funny how wonderful technology is, because so much is available all the time, but it also makes things less special sometimes.
It does. Well, I mean, I can't tell you how many times we'll get in the car, and between Spotify and YouTube, I mean, basically everything's at our disposal. Sometimes we don't know what to play, you know, and it's option anxiety. It's like there's too many options, and then we end up not listening to anything sometimes because we can't figure out what we want to listen to.
The funny thing is, we find ourselves listening to things from the 80s and 90s, we like all the old stuff. It really makes us feel old, but it's like it's kind of like comfort food in a weird way, the comfort music,
I understand.
But I have to say, I'm really looking forward now, especially going back to listen to your dad's records, and then when yours comes out, I'll be listening to that. So I love Brazilian music. I have to say, it's definitely fills my soul.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, and that's why I recorded when I was at the Cafe Foam. There was this legendary pianist from the area. His name's Paulo Dorfman, and he mentioned to me about this song that my father wrote back in the early 60s, before my time, called Bossa no Choro. And then I went back, asked my mom about it, and she just happened to have a chart on it. And my mom, we have all the original LPs at the house, but I went on YouTube, found it, and I asked Antonio Adolfo. He plays piano on that track on the record. Do you have that, Nikki? I mean, I don't know how much time we have left. But
I think we should end on that since we bring everything full circle.
Yeah, I mean, and Antonio Adolfo, who's in Miami part time, was part of that era too. Yeah. And he came a little bit after, like maybe 8 years later, but not much. He appeared on the scene in the 60s, the later 60s. He had so many of his songs performed and recorded by other people. I mean, Antonio Adolfo's got tons of compositions that are really become standards,
Well, he'll be on the show the first Monday in February.
Yeah, so. I think you should come by and heckle him on, with type in some, remarks, anything that you might want to say.
I heckle him on WhatsApp almost every day, so I'm good.
Perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
There you go. Well, Phill, it was such a pleasure getting to talk to you and hear your music and hear about your legacy and your history.
And we're definitely looking forward to your CD coming out, and even better, hopefully hearing you live before this year is up.
Yes.
Well, yes, thank you. And, and I want to thank you guys for having me, you and, both of you and Rick and everybody, because I'm up here in West Palm Beach, so I'm a charter member of the Miami scene, so to speak. So, and with all the talent that's down there, for you guys to, even consider me means a lot to me. And thank you for having me.
Oh,
it was our pleasure.
We're the lucky ones.
Phill Fest, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to go off with tell us the name of the song again so I don't have to say it.
This is Bossa no Choro
by Manfredo Fest on Phill Fest's latest release, Cafe Foam.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Adolfo. Yeah, right. Yeah.
you
was
have it.
Phill Fest and his upcoming new release, Cafe Phone Phone. Phone Phone?
Phone Phone.
Phone Phone. Okay. Well, I have to say,
That's exactly what one should say.
I didn't know if this was going to happen or not because it was so crazy beforehand, but thank you all for sticking with us and hanging out and watching, because I thought that was a pretty good show. Warts and all, the Martin Luther King tribute and Brenda's song and learning about Phill Fest, and it's always a surprise and always an adventure, quite frankly, behind the scenes. And we have lots more to come, which is really exciting, which always makes me happy that somehow in this crazy time we're able to keep the music going. Want to thank our partners in this endeavor every Monday night, the Gold Coast Jazz Society, which you can find at thegoldcoastjazz.org. Check out their website. They do a lot of education stuff, and they have a couple of things coming up where they just had something out. I have to figure out. I need to talk to Pam. Pam, if you're listening, I want to talk to you because I would like to promote the things that you guys have been doing also. Also, we've got the Sunshine Jazz Organization, the SJO, and you can find that at sunshinejazz.org. And then we've got the Sunshine SouthFloridaJazz.org, and of course MiamiJazz.org. Want to talk to you about South Florida Jazz's virtual concert series. Last Saturday they had their opening night with John DeVersa, and it was fantastic. Want to the stuff that's coming up in February is the Joe Locke Quartet, Subtle Disguise. In March we've got Dan Tepfer, and in April David Kikowski Quartet. So check that out on southfloridajazz.org. You can learn more about it, how to get there, how to get your tickets and know what you need to know. But also,
we're keeping the whole Brazilian thing going, aren't we?
The Brazilian thing is going to be for the next couple weeks, which is really exciting for me. Just found out, and this is all random, because we booked Rose and Ramachis a couple of weeks ago, not realizing that next Monday night, the night that they are going to be on our show, is the birthday of the one and only Antonio Carlos Jobim. So we're going to have a Brazilian Jobim fest, and it's going to be, I'm really excited about it. And not only that, and as if we need more stress in our life, we have decided to do a live broadcast, completely live broadcast from the
Jazzport.
The Jazzport.
And it's going to be a performance, like a concert performance.
Like a concert performance.
And we'll stick a video
with Rose
an interview in the middle.
Yes. So we'll all be
on
there.
The break.
Socially distanced outside, and hopefully that's all going to go well. We're going to do a test run this week and make sure that we can get that going. But so next Monday, January 25th, Rose, Max, and Ramachis. Right. And then the following week, the first Monday in February, Antonio Adolfo will be on. So we'll get to dig deep more into the history of bossa nova and Brazilian jazz. And oh yes, that's a really great idea, Brenda. I actually have that at my house. I have the Brazilian Press Award that we won for doing, the MJC won for doing our tribute to Antonio Carlos Jobim.
There you go.
So that was a lot of fun. That was a great show. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We hope to see you really soon. Stay safe, stay well. See you next week.
Good night.